Well, welcome. We're going to talk, and we're going to have a lot of fun today. We're going to talk about LinkedIn, and actually one of the most important things you can do for your career. And let me tell you a little bit of myself. Let's first, before I get started, there's not a lot of people. Why don't we all come up front here a little bit? Can we do that? I know that's a little harsh, but come on up. I'd love to see your smiling faces. I normally teach in this room with 340 students, so come on. Let's get a little bit closer here. Is that okay? You're good. You're fine. We're not trying to get anybody to move. I know, you're such radiant, you know, absolutely. Well, I'm adjunct marketing professor John Graaff. Basically, I really have had a wonderful life in marketing. To me, I've done this for over 30 years, and I've been out there and I've launched over 150 new products, 2 that sold $1 billion. Really, so you say, well, boy, how did you get this opportunity? Well, we're going to talk about the benefits we have in LinkedIn and how you can create the same opportunity for you. I grew up in a blue-collar household with 5 boys in a room, right? In a little 900-square-foot home. But now I get to work on things like nanotechnology. Like the Borg, they actually have nanites that actually can cure colon cancer. Now, why is that so important to me? Well, basically, my wife had colon cancer. So to me, they actually have nanites right now that they can ingest. They do this in animals, and it actually, cures colon cancer. Or, anybody want to be sustainable and solar arrays? Anybody like, the green energy movement, right? Well, I got to work with Florida Power and Light, and we were actually working on the largest solar array in the world. How would you like to go market that? Isn't that pretty cool, right? So, and basically, the problem was, that all the regulations in Florida said we want green energy, but our regulations say it has to withstand a hurricane. Well, after Irma, I can understand why, right? But at the time, it said any solar array cannot basically sustain 180-mile-an-hour winds. So we actually, one of the big things that we did is we actually, as a marketer, changed the law. It says all power plants have to sustain 180-mile winds except solar arrays. Right? So, Irma did a number on this one. How about combat blindness? How many people would love to go around the world and cure children of blindness for less than $50? I do that all the time. Combat blindness, basically, it's in Madison, and they go around the world. They've done over 200,000 surgeries, and they use their cell phones. Can you imagine? This is an actual fact. The cell phones here, if you look at it, they actually do their eye tests with cell phones. So they go in, actually, did you know there are 3.8 billion toothbrushes, but there are 4 billion cell phones? So there are more cell phones than toothbrushes. So they actually take the test, and then what they do is they scan your eye, and it goes up to a cloud, and they can actually basically diagnose the eye. So a surgeon, instead of doing 5 exams, they can do 50. So they basically have come up with a system that can do $50 a person to give a child their sight back. Isn't that pretty cool? How would you like to market that? I do that. Or Gerber graduates. How many here were born after 1990? How many people here? Well, 73% of the United States are growing up healthier because something I actually marketed and did. A Gerber graduates. So to me, as I said, what do you think 10-month-old babies were eating in 1990? That's ancient, right? 1990. What do you think the top 5 things that they ate besides mother's milk, formula, and baby food? What do you think they were eating? Cheerios number 3. Dried fruit. I wish it was that healthy. Mashed potatoes wasn't even on that list. Candy is on the list, but because they're choking at 10 months, they didn't do too much. Number 1, McDonald's French fries. Number 2, Kraft macaroni and cheese. Number 3, Cheerios. Number 4, SpaghettiOs. Number 5, applesauce. So basically, I got to market a healthy Happy Meal. And they talk about failing. I went out, put it in a nice box, launched it in Des Moines, Iowa, and we lost $5 million because moms didn't like boxes that told them to go to McDonald's. So what we're going to show you in LinkedIn here is how somebody who comes from a little 900-square-foot home can do these kind of things. And by the way, you can do the same because I didn't have the tools that you have. So bottom line is the most important brand you're going to market, and I've done marketing all over the world, the most important brand you're going to market is brand you. Now, as I said, look to the left, look to the right. As you see, as you were here at Tito's Vodka when it was really full, bottom line is That's your competition. Bottom line is they're graduating and they're looking for jobs too. Anybody not looking for a fantastic job? Or starting their own business? Right? That's what we're going to do. So the most important brand you have to learn to market is brand you. Brand you is number one. And this is something it took me a lot of years to figure out. Because not only do you have to market it to the consumer out there, but you got to market it internally in your organization, and you got to go basically market it when you're looking for a new job. All this is about brand you. So are you approaching basically what you do like a brand? So if you think about this, did you know 94% of all recruiters look at your LinkedIn before they look at your resume? They look at your LinkedIn before your resume. I hired over 300 product managers and salespeople. I was a senior vice president. And you can do it. You can go out there and say, I'm going to go through this big pile of resumes, or am I just going to go click, 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 click? I'm going to go click, 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 click. I'm sorry. Because I'm going to screen you right away. And I'm going to look. So 94%. By the way, 85%, these are surveys, these are not my opinions, 85% of all jobs come from referrals. You coming here is a great way to get referrals. 85%. Do you want to be at the 15% where the jobs are, or the 85? How many people want to be in the 85? Right? I want to be in the 85. So how are you going to do that? I grew up, I didn't know any business people. I didn't have any marketing capability. How are you going to do that right now? Why do I love LinkedIn? And I love LinkedIn. I've worked with LinkedIn. I've been at the Empire State Building, where basically in New York. I've basically done a lot of marketing with them. I've worked with Prudential, GE, Honeywell, McDonald's, all these people, and it's because they network. Network, network, network. Do you get into GE saying, oh, knock on the door, I'm a really wonderful person, I got a wonderful brand and product? No. They have to have somebody recommend you. Did you see so-and-so and such, and they did a great job. They did a wonderful job. I do basically workshops and seminars around the world. So if I'm going to get into GE, Honeywell, I got to work at Hamburger U in the headquarters of McDonald's. But you're not going to be able to sell them anything. You have to network. You have to know someone. You have to get a warm introduction. If you're here and you don't walk away with at least 300 possible, basically more people in your LinkedIn, you've missed a huge opportunity. And let me tell you why. Do you know, who your aunt, uncle, grandfather, mother, father is? I don't. Or you, or you, or you, or you. I've had, last semester alone, I had 3 of my students whose basically uncle or aunt were CEOs of major firms. One was of Oscar Mayer. So if you say, well, they're just students. No, they're not just students. They have a network, and a phenomenal one. And how are you going to build it? But so what? Why do you care? The number one thing in marketing is to create awareness. Can you buy a product if you aren't aware of it? The number one thing is you got to create awareness. And how about you? But growing up, in that little tiny home, I didn't have a lot of awareness, right? So basically, how many people have a LinkedIn account here? How many people have LinkedIn? Great. So how many people have 500 in it? 1,000. 2,000. I have 2,000. Now, and I'm not even, my brother has 166,000. I'm envious of him, right? So bottom line is, but how do you break through the clutter? It's advertising. Marketing says and tells you, you see 300 ads a day. You remember 3 and you act on 1. Some people say it's 500. I don't know. What's the right number? But how are you going to break through the clutter? So what? Why you? And I go out there and I'm talking to all these CEOs. I have 30 CEOs in my LinkedIn. I have over 250 senior vice presidents. And they're always saying, we want to hire. We want to hire good people like AMA members. We want to actually go out and make this happen. We can't find you. Where are you? I can't see you. Right? Maybe you didn't go to the college that they send their recruiters. Maybe you're not in the right profile that you normally would be. So how do you create awareness? How do you get that done? Because they're looking for you. So obviously, it's LinkedIn. Now I want you to take your phones right now and type, go to a Google search and type your name. Type your name. And hit search. How many people came up number 1. Very good. So you've done some work, or you have a unique name. One of the two. Both work, by the way. Right? So a few, but so the rest of us have some work to do, don't we? So this is not bragging. I just want you to type my name, John DeGraff, JohnDeGraff, click on it, and see where I come up. Okay? And click on it, because I want you to go to LinkedIn. So what we want to do is make it so when you leave here, and you leave the college that you're at, bottom line is you come up number 1. Because what happens to me? I go to this wonderful job fair this morning. It's so crowded. There's tons of people hiring. And you're having to wait in line. Now, do you think somebody might lose your resume or forget your card, but they remember your name? And they go back and they Google search you, and can they find you? Yes or no? If they can, you're okay. If they can't, you're in trouble. Right? So this is my brand. Of course, I'm a marketer, innovator, educator. That's what I do. My tagline, I actually have a tagline. It's called Making Innovation Happen. Every email I put out has Making Innovation Happen. And I'm corny, and they make fun of me because they call me the coach here, and I wear my funny whitewater hat everywhere I go. Right? And the reason is I have an image and a brand I've created. Not by accident, but on purpose. Because when they walk in and they look at the Warhawks, they say, what is that, the Philadelphia Eagles? And I say, no, the largest undergraduate B school in the state of Wisconsin. And now I have a conversation. Does that make sense? So what's your brand? What are making you you? What makes you you? Right? So again, does it work? Yeah, I'm top 1%. I'll either number 1 or 2 at the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater, and I'm in the top 1% at the University of Michigan. So the systems work. But what I want to ask you is, what's your superpower? I hired hundreds, and I mean hundreds of sales and marketers. So what is your superpower? Are you the assassin? Are you basic Iron Man? How about the Hulk, right? Or the Black Widow? I don't know what you are. Now, don't tell me I got great grades, I'm good looking, and I smile a lot. So do you and 2,000 other people. I love you guys. I want you to be successful. But what's your superpowers? Everyone, are you into sustainability, that you know a lot about those people? Maybe your father or mother is a mechanic, right? And I know a lot about cars. For me, I worked in a meat plant. I lifted 100,000 pounds a day. Not a good job. I would not recommend it. But I got into marketing in processed meats. I knew a little bit about it, right? And suddenly that became my superpower. So what is yours? I want you to think about what makes you you, where you lived, where you grew up. Some people maybe grew up on a farm. Some people maybe grew up in the inner city. Doesn't matter. It gives you a unique perspective. So what is your superpower? How do you make that happen? And I always say, what is your unique value proposition? Have we heard that in marketing before? What's the unique value proposition? What's yours? So what, why you? So what, why you? Who's your target? Don't tell me I just want a sales job. Who are you really going after? That company that you really want to work for. Or you want to start your own startup. So what VC person do you need to know to get that started? Who's your target? Would anybody here do a marketing campaign with not knowing the target? Would anybody? And yet I see people do marketing of themselves and resumes, and they don't have a clue on who's the target. Who's your target? What do you really want? And oh, by the way, have you ever seen an ad that doesn't have a headline? So what's yours? What's your unique headline? What are the 3 things that describe you to an employer? Who's your target? What do they want to hear? And what you want to understand is, what does an HR person want to hear? Real question, what do you think they want to hear? They want HR, which salespeople want to see results. And marketers, by the way. But HR, they actually want to make sure that you're qualified, right? And that you show up on time, believe it or not. It's the number 2 thing. Did you actually show up all the time so we don't have absentee problems? Now, if I'm talking to a sales or marketing manager, I want to see, hey, what game have you won? Have you been competitive? How did you win that? What did you compete? At least, were you in the game? Did you go play, did you do some sales competitions? What did you do? That's what they're really trying to do here, right? So who's the target? And what's your positioning? What problem are you going to solve for them? So if I'm a salesperson, I'm hiring, which I hire a lot. What problem are you solving for me? This AMA conference. What problem are you solving? Yeah, employee shortage, definitely. Matter of fact, there's first time in the last 2 years that's flipped around. Up until 2 years ago, not so much. But what shortage is definitely, but why? Why do I hire you if you're sales? I need qualified candidates. I don't hire you because of qualified candidates. I get a lot of those. Why do I hire you?
Stand out.
No. The reason I hire is that you've shown, go ahead. Experience and you got some sort of results, right? You can show that you can hit that ball. So it doesn't have to be in sales. It could be for not-for-profit. It could be for an org. I increase membership 50%. Oh, you know how to get this done, right? So again, you have to look at it. So what problem are you solving? And what's most important? What's your logo? Now, I love people. We all want to look really professional. We get up here and we put our little thing on it. And I love these people who go, look seriously, like this at the camera. I'm gonna be a badass and do all these things, right? And I'm looking and I say, do you want to work with a badass? I don't. What do I want to see in my picture? I would see nice professional look, which all of you are, wonderful, right? But what do I want to see? What do I want to see? What do you want to see?
Good member of a team.
Right? I didn't hear you, I'm sorry.
Good member of a team.
Good member of a team.
Yeah.
What does make that? Because you're absolutely right. I want you to be a good member of the team, but what does that mean?
So you collaborate well with others, you're
Yes!
a good communicator.
You're a good communicator, you collaborate well, and oh, by the way, do you want a negative Nelly in your team? Never! By the way, that's a slang thing, I know. But bottom line is, do you want somebody who's negative? No, you don't. You want positive. So is your picture look positive? Or does it look, I'm just not, oh, I hate to put on a tie, it sucks. What do you look like, right? Be honest. So to me, here's a good example, and I love AMA. I've been, I hit 5th out of 5. So I'm the 5th advisor here. I do basically social, impact. That's what I do. So to me, do you put on your resume, I'm an AMA member? That's like saying, I play baseball. Or does your organization say, I play baseball for the Yankees? Or I play baseball for the Cubs? Does that make a difference on what you say? So it's not just, I'm an AMA member. What did I do? Where did I hit? Who am I part of? The mere fact you're here, you're part of an elite group. The mere fact you're here, you're unique. Because other people didn't move their feet and come. They all sat home. So say, I went to the AMA conference. I competed in this. I did these things. Do you think that matters to me as an employer? You betcha it does. Because do I want somebody who sits at the sideline or do I want somebody in the game? I want somebody who gets in the game, even if you didn't win it first. I'd rather have somebody get up and take some swings than somebody who can't even hit the ball at all, right? So that's what you're, and by the way, look at this. AMA has 30,000 members, 254 collegiate chapters. If each one of them only had 200, basically, connections, you're talking 6 million people. 6 million employers who have departments and managers and jobs out there that you are part of already. 6 million. What happens to your odds about getting that great job if you connect with them? It goes up multiplicative. It goes up and up and up and up. It does that. But I hate to tell you, I teach marketing. I love all the intricacies of marketing, but marketing is just one thing. It's storytelling. Sorry, I'm a fisherman. So I always say I learned how to do marketing from fishing. What's the very first thing you have to do when you go fishing? Anybody been on fishing ever? Okay, we've had a few fishermen. Besides buying beer and getting a license, what else? What's the first thing you have to do when you go fishing? Bait, that's second. Find a spot is third, actually. What's number one? Reel, that goes with the bait. It's the second thing you do. First thing you have to decide is, what are you fishing for? Because if I don't know what I'm fishing for, I don't know what bait to buy, I don't know what line to use, I don't know what rod to go, and I don't know where to go. Am I fishing for salmon, which is the Great Lakes, or do I go here in my local pond? I live on Lake Ripley and catch bass. I don't know. So to me, if I'm fishing, it's not called catching, it's called fishing. Because you're going to try this. You're going to try different positions in your resume and put some things up there. And some are going to work and some are not going to work. And the bottom line is, what catches fish? That's in my business. I go all over the world. I deal with all these CEOs, and my biggest thing I always ask myself at the end of every week, what caught fish this week? What jargon, what workshops, what speeches, what caught fish? If it's not catching fish, try something else. It's not that you're wrong or even in the wrong pond. Bottom line is, what's catching fish? So, again, why should I listen to you? So to me, I'm looking at 300 resumes. Why should I listen to you? What would be a reason I should listen to you? Why should I listen to you? Yep, why should I listen to you? You like to empower people. Good, but could you show me how you empowered them? So I love it. You like to empower, but show me a thing that you did. Why else? Yes?
I'm personal and I have expertise in my field.
Yes. So I love it. You know, you're flexible because you're going to fit on my team, but show me what you have expertise in. Tell me.
I'm an economics major and I know a lot about marketing.
So you can hit on two sides. I could be an economist and I could be a marketer. So I can do the forecasting, do all the analysis that I need to do. At the same time, I could take that and translate it to my sales team. That's very valuable. You think that's valuable? You think that's unique? I do. I was a microbiologist, nutritional chemist, food technologist before I became a marketer. I was a meat guy, and I said, oh, get the job in the lab. It pays $8,000 a year. That's how old I am, right? And I was, ooh, and then I went, this sucks. $8,000, they're making 30, right? That's where I want to go. So what did it take? I had to go get my MBA. Then the second thing is you say, what are the three, what's in it for me? Now, what's in it for me, as we talked about, what's in it for HR, what's in it for sales, what's in it for the person you're talking to? And that's the way you have to write your LinkedIn. So you have to decide who's the target. Is it HR? Is it sales? Who's the target? And what's in it for them? I empower people and I get results. I've done it this way with this program or that program. Does that make sense? So that's what you're trying to do. But remember, we're really busy people. I work 12 hours a day, and I literally do work 7 days a week. I don't have time for nonsense, so tell me the 3 things that are most important. Don't tell me 43. Tell me the 3 things that you're going to wow me with. I'm going to go, wow, I didn't know she could do that. That's really cool. I didn't know anybody who had that young could actually have that kind of experience. Well, I want to go talk to you. So what 3 things are you doing? And then what you do is what action do you want me to take? I will tell you, for 20 years, if you didn't ask me for the job, you didn't get the job. I don't care if you're the best candidate. Because if you don't ask me for the job and I'm in marketing and sales and you don't ask for the sale, sha-na-na-na, say goodbye. That's what it's about. You got to ask for the sale. So I want you to write this down right now. Just take a second. What 3 companies do you want to work for? What 3 companies, or if you want to start your own business, fine, write that down. I don't care. Write down, what 3 companies do you want to work for? And it'd even be better if you said what position. Okay, we're going to go quick. Anybody want to volunteer a company? Anybody volunteer a company? Any company. I don't care. Yes? Google. Now Google, well, why Google?
Well, I feel like for me, one of the big things I look for in a company is a good work environment and a good company culture.
Yep.
And I know that they really value that, and I feel like it's a good place to learn and grow.
Their company culture is, they have 35 companies, because I teach innovation, so I kind of know a little bit about Google, right? But how many make money? 35 companies, over $1 billion. How many make money? 2. It's going to be 3 this year because YouTube's going to make it. Yay! Right? By the way, Larry Page was a student of my brother's at the University of Michigan. I had another brother who's a professor who teaches the same thing I'm teaching you, right? So he learned some of the things I'm talking to you about, right? Do you think he didn't start with all the things? They say, oh, he did it in his garage. No, actually, went to Michigan as an engineer, went to Stanford, learned a little bit about IT, and then went across the street and created his Google. And what was the Google? Why Google? Because what's Google's mission? Anybody know what Google's mission is? Because I love this. What? It's not e-commerce. Yes? It's close, really close.
I was going to say about the same thing that you said.
You guys are really close. It's make information simple. It's make information simple. If you understand that, how simple are you to understand when I look at that LinkedIn information? How simple are you? Can you think it worked for Google? Making information simple? Do you think anybody you're talking to has a lot of time? They have no time. They're going, they're going to see, 300 people today and 300 people next week and 300 people the next week and 300 people the next week. So how simple are you and easy to communicate? That's what I'm trying to get through here, right? Are you following the company? The very first thing I do is I follow the company, and I know this sounds hokey, but even before I got to be a professor, I went to the library before I walked into a client. Why would I always pull their Source One or their IBIS World before I walk into you? Why would I do that?
If you know something about them, they're going to have more trust in you.
Yeah, if I know, was your earnings up or down this week or this month, right? What new products have you launched? What's the focus area that the CEO wants everybody to move for? If I know that, and by the way, the next thing I do? I go to LinkedIn and I pull your I know what college you went to. I know what organizations you're part of. I know who you're following. Oh, you like Jack Walsh. Oh, that's great. Okay, so you're kind of that guy, right? So I know all about you. Matter of fact, go ahead.
So I'm a big father of son teaching. So LinkedIn would have all that.
Well, some people hide it. I don't want to say everybody puts it up. When you get to a CEO level, they kind of start hiding things. But VPs don't. So if you wanted to go work for somebody who worked for him, that's what you do. That's exactly what you do. Matter of fact, I scare people because I have 2 students last summer. I wrote I basically did some research, and I had them pull 1,800 LinkedIn profiles. I can tell you exactly what's going on in any industry just by looking at LinkedIn. And it's free. And I'm like, really? It's free. I could tell where you live, where you went to college, what organizations you are, and what you read. And by the way, and if I look at your post, I know what you're interested in. Bang, right? That's why LinkedIn. So what I want you to do now, really quick, because we don't have a ton of time, I want you to take 45 seconds, and I want you basically to take 3 words that best describe you, and why should I hire you, and what's in it for me. So take a few seconds. Right now, write down 3 words that best describe you. Mine, you've heard, is marketer, innovator, and educator. What are yours? What 3 words best describe you? And why should I hire you? Because of that. The because is actually the most important. But what are the 3 words, and why would I hire you? Why would I hire you? I'm seeing 300 of you. You're really bright. You're all good looking. Get great grades. Love y'all. So what about you? What I want you to do, because we're not going to have time to do this today, is I want you to do that and practice with your friends, because you will improve your basement placement rate, as I said, multiple times. We're going to go through how to do the LinkedIn here in a minute, but I want you to do that. I want to honestly tell you, up until I was 53 years old, I never lost a job interview. I got an offer on every interview I ever had because I do this. Okay? Doesn't mean I took them all, because I didn't want to live in certain areas and I didn't want to, if they weren't high enough pay. I got to be vice president, I lost a few. But until I became a vice president, didn't lose any. So again, I want you to do this. Remember, 75 to 80% of all jobs start on social media in LinkedIn. So if you aren't spending a huge amount of time doing that, what's that network worth? It's worth everything. In my business, it's a recommendation business. So let's talk about LinkedIn. Let's now build your profile. This is from Jason Hammer in New York. He was the regional manager for all of New York for LinkedIn. So, okay, there's 6 million people right now out there in LinkedIn for AMA, but there's 450 million around the world. So I don't care if you're from Germany, I don't care if you're from New York, I don't care where you're from, there is somebody who's in LinkedIn that has a job where you want to work in a location where you want to be. Let me repeat that. They have a job where you want to work in a location you want to be. All you need is to be introduced to them. And they'll see your nice, shiny face, and what you can do for that company. Now, that was never available to me. You are so lucky, because I have my thing, I do this with my students all the time. I don't say other than, hey, he's a really good student of mine. You might want to give him a look. That's it. Boom. Now, it's up to you to follow up and ask, by the way, I'm a boomer. Do I read all my texts or all my emails? I have 400 students. Do I read all my emails every day? I can't. So to get me, what do you have to do if you're a boomer? Give me a call. Pick up the phone. I'm amazed how people won't pick up the phone. Pick up the phone. Again, so you have your professional network and you have your private network. My private network is basically Facebook. You're going to see Aurora and Griffin, my grandkids, running around, and I'm taking them fishing. That's private. So that's fun. I'm looking at that, but I'm building my professional network. That's LinkedIn. 5 years from now, it might be another technology, but today it's LinkedIn. So if you think about it, you profile optimization, a beginner profile. So if we think about this, you look at it and you say, first you have to have your name, right? Your professional headline. I told you those 3 words. And optimize your location and industry. Did you know if you're sitting in Whitewater, it's the last zip code in the greater Chicago area? I'm in the greater Chicago area because there are more people in Chicago than there are in Whitewater. It also would qualify for Milwaukee or Madison. It depends on which way you want to go. Bottom line is optimize it. And what industry you're in. Don't tell me you want to be in this tiny little industry because you don't know what jobs are out there or how they connect to what you really want. Throw a wider net. Throw a wider net. This is not me speaking. This is LinkedIn. Get a professional looking photo. We did that here. We offered that as part of this conference. By the way, I've seen some really professional photos even done with your smartphone. There's actually, there's a whole bunch of YouTube videos on how to do that, out there on YouTube. It doesn't take a lot to get a decent photo. It doesn't have to be professional and spend a lot of money. I didn't have any when I was growing up. I basically got $25 in a handshake. That's my total sum money I got to go to college. So bottom line is it doesn't take a lot. Customize your profile URL. Extend your headline and support it. Show, don't tell. You ever watch Jobs present? Have you ever seen any words on his slides? Never. Show me your work. Show me the marketing plan you did. Show me the piece of creative that you did. Show me a sales contest award. Show me something. Your mind is meant to be visual. I'm quick. Did you know human beings have less attention span than goldfish? Goldfish will focus on something for 7 seconds. Humans 5. So you got 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And they're gone. Examples of your work, as I said, show, don't tell. Manage your endorsements. Get endorsements from the right people. Somebody that I would respect or I might even know. And as I said, the more you do, the more you can get these endorsements. Add project, test scores. Prove to me that you can do this. Courses, patents, certifications. I love anything, even badges. Show me that you know how to do it. I was a food technologist and all I had was basically a certificate. Because I showed somebody, I went out and took this thing at Iowa State for 2 weeks, came back, and suddenly there was 3 people for a job. I had the certificate, they didn't, I got the job. So show them that you've actually come to this conference. Make yourself contactable. Here's the one thing that drives me crazy. I would get down to 5 candidates. I'm calling for interviews. If you don't have your phone number on there, I'm going to the next one. So you might have gotten to the finals and you didn't put your phone number there. I don't have time. When am I looking at for placing people? I'm looking when I'm in the airport. I'm looking when I'm sitting in the airport. It's the only time of day that nobody's going to bother me. So I pull up my smartphone and I'm going to be starting to look at my contacts, the resumes, and I'm making my phone calls. Understand executives that hire are always in airports, are always on the run, or they're in the hotel. Because we're doing stuff. That's what we do. Content on LinkedIn. Now, everybody basically talks about, it's about finding jobs. No, it's not. It's putting good content out there. 7 times more likely to see you if you put good content out there. Show me a picture. Make a comment on somebody else's blog. Post something that's unique. Now, I'm a business person. What's the one thing I'm going to listen to you at? I've been doing this, for a long, long, long time. What would I listen to you about? Yes. What? Something that helps my business? Absolutely. So what would help my business? Because you're absolutely right. Could be. I'd want anything that had to do with you, the millennial consumer. Because how much data is on the new consumer? You haven't been in the market. What are your likes? What are your dislikes? I can read reports, but how quickly does that change? I want to hear from you. Basically, if you see a great article, comment on it. It makes sense to you. You should pay attention to this. It's a big trend because it's going to affect my business. That's exactly right. It's about content. Understand you could do SlideShare, groups, Pulse, influencers. You participate. The more platforms you're in, the higher and the more likely you're going to come up on a search. Always. It doesn't change much different than the web. So if I put a SlideShare up, I put these presentations up after I'm done on SlideShare so that you guys can have them. But bottom line, what does that do for my profile? It pulls it up because more people are looking at it. Does that make sense? So what could you put out there that would be good? Nothing that's proprietary or that has IP issues. But other than that, get it up there. Groups. Always participate in groups. I'm a marketer and innovator. I'm a member of 45 different groups. Why? Because when they're looking for somebody, they say, John, do you know anybody who knows how to do this? And you're in that group, and you go, you're going to get it before they post it in HR. And you go, by the way, I do. This nice young woman over here has fantastic experience and would be a great person for you to go talk to. Ba-dum-bum. How hard is that? By the way, if you participate in their group, they might want to listen to you too. And remember, it's marketing. We're marketers. Am I going to listen to you the first time or even the second? There's something about the rule of three, and I don't know why. I've done this for a lot of years, but about the third time I start to remember your name, right? Because I have over 400 students. But if you come and talk to me 3 times, third time, I got it, right? Do you think a business person, he or she is any different? If you talk to them 3 times, they'll remember your name, right? Pulse is just news. So engage in groups. Get engaged. Make sure you're always engaged. Did you know if you're engaged, you're 7 times more likely because you have content, but you're 4 times more likely, again, if you participate in their group. You want to improve your odds of getting that great job in front of that great person? Participate. Now, to me, I'm a very busy person. Make sure that it's a quality participation. I don't want, I hate these people. Anybody here hate to get basically email every day from one person you don't know? I hate that. So when you do it, participate smartly. Basically, have an observation. Don't be afraid to post. Don't be afraid to share, but make sure it's quality because my time is limited. I don't want to waste it. You think about gain insights from Pulse. That guy in the middle here, that's my little brother, Jeff. As I said, we have an innovation center at Michigan and here at Whitewater. I do the Whitewater one. He does the one over in Michigan. I work out of the center here. So bottom line is, but he's got 160,000 followers. Do you think that helps my business? A ton, right? How could it help you get a job? How could it help your business? By the way, social selling is the #1 selling now, right? It beats the heck out of going out and doing cold calling. So it's about the network. I just got done yesterday. I talked to 9 partners at KPMG, one of the top consulting firms in the country. It's Bain, BCG, McKinsey, and KPMG. And what's the #1 thing they say for success? As a partner, these people are making $500,000 a year. Would you like to make $500,000? I would, right? So what's their #1 reason? I interviewed all of them. What's the #1 reason that they're successful? Relationships. How do they create relationships? They network. They network and they network and they relationship. Over and over and over. The one thing I can't have you do in my class or do in my business is I can't basically make you network. But it's the one thing that will make you more money than anything else you do. And I'm looking you straight in the face because I was that kid who was in that room and I didn't have the network, so it took me 10 years to figure this out. And you're starting with a tool that can get you there immediately. Now, be smart about how you use it, but network, this is KPMG. $500,000 every one of them. Right? So again, top posts, pay attention. Also follows, I always say scour the world, steal the best, make it your own. Scour the world, steal the best, and make it your own. I didn't say steal their IP or plagiarize. But every time I've ever done marketing in my whole life is I find somebody who's been successful, knows how to do this, and then copy them and make it your own. They can't be you. You have to be you. So for an example, I'll use a really silly marketing example. I was working for a sausage company. I went to the grocery store, and here was Kellogg's. I hadn't worked for him yet. And there was a big display of Kellogg's. And it says, buy 3 cereal boxes and get a free bag of bananas. I went, that looks pretty cool. Bought 3 boxes, went home. Now, am I going to eat 3 boxes of cereal in 2 months? Heck no. But I bought 3 boxes. Then I went but here's the second part. Then I went and asked the produce manager, what did it charge Kellogg's? And they said, well, John, produce has a 50% markup, so we only just charged them at cost, so that was equivalent to a 25-cent coupon. Would you like a 25-cent coupon for a box of cereal that costs $3, or would you like 5 pounds of potatoes? 5 pounds of bananas. I took that same idea, and I went to the sausage business, said buy 3 packets of sausage and get 5 pounds of potatoes. We grew 6 share points. You're a genius, John. No, I don't want to go, no, I'm not. Bottom line is, but I figured it out. It worked. So if you find somebody who's doing really well, copy them. Look at their profile. If you want to be somebody, go on LinkedIn, look how they talk about themselves. What is their headline? What experience do they have? If you want to be them, copy them. That's exactly how, and by the way, then you make it your own. You're never going to be the same, but if you know what was successful, you don't have to remake the wheel. Right? LinkedIn obviously opens a lot of it. There's sharing and publishing. Be careful what you publish. What you publish stays with you forever. Sharing goes away. So what I love to do is I love to get like the Harvard Business Review and make some really nice comment. Or my brother publishes about innovation. You put a comment on it and it goes to your people. Now here's a good example. I have 2,000 people, right? I told you in my community. About 2 weeks ago, I made a comment about a wonderful thing that we're doing here at Whitewater. And the next day, how many people saw it? So I only have 2,000 in my network. How many people saw it? 2,000? 5,000. 5,000. Why 5,000? They shared. So you may even only, let's say you have 200, and you share, but your 200 have 200. And suddenly now you're not reaching 200, you're reaching 2,000. What do you think that does for your job odds of getting a great job? It goes through the roof. I'm amazed that people don't do it. And by the way, look at the profiles of the people you want to be like and copy it and then look at what they're talking about. And then you need to talk about that or figure out how it makes sense to you. Right? When you publish and post, become part of the profile. It gets shared with you. So when you do a post, it stays with you. So when you post versus share, make sure that you know what you're talking about. The worst thing you can do is put up a really dumb post, right? So you don't want to do that because it stays with your profile. So what do you write about? You write about things you know. Write about millennials. Write about the job market that you're going into. Write about your major. What's the latest technology or software that's out there, right? Write about what you know. People pay attention. Right? Choose images that stand out. We're meant to be visual. Always be visual. Do I have time to read that 2-page report? I used to be a senior vice president. I'd have the quality people give me a 50-page report and expect me to read it. And I'm like, you're kidding. I want to see the 2-page summary on the top and that's it. So show pictures. Make it fun. Make it look like you have some creativity. Do marketers need creativity? Did you know from an IBM study the #1 thing senior leaders look for is creativity? Why do they look for creativity? I lead innovation all over the planet. Why? You're right, it is innovation, but why? Are they going to give you more people to run that job? Are they going to give you more money when you get that new job? No. They expect you to do more with less. You got to be better than they were. And the only way how you do that is creativity. How many people have had a class on creativity? Too bad you aren't in my classes, because we do. So bottom line is, it's creative. It's called design thinking, but bottom line, it's a different thing. So but you can find images. You don't have to be a great photographer. I'm not. I suck at this. But I find really cool images, and I have some people help me put it together. Always attribute, though. I never say it's mine if it's not mine. Always attribute. Always, 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 always. So be authentic. I don't know about you. I can tell a phony 1,000 miles away. I've interviewed so many people. I can tell a phony. And I used to have this really silly question I asked, which I would always ferret out any of the other phonies. And my question was, if you were an automobile, what kind of automobile would you be? And if you go and tell me you're a Ferrari, you're expensive and hard to handle, right? If you tell me you're a minivan, we got to go faster than that, right? Sorry, we're marketers. Does that make sense? So bottom line, be authentic, be real. Talk about your stories. I talk fishing stories and raising horses and doing all these things and being all these places. What's your story? You always have a story. Coming here is a story. Make it a story of how you came and conquered, or how you came and tried something you've never done before. Make it a story, right? Share, your posts, and they make sure they get read. Make sure you share it with the right people and ask them to pass it on. So here are my 10 simple rules, and they go like this. Take 10 minutes a day and work on LinkedIn. 10 minutes a day. Not 20, not 5. I do this, and as I said, I'm number 1 on campus. Number 2, tell your story, but keep it fresh. Anybody like to go to a website and see the same stuff over and over? Why would I want to see the same stuff? You're growing. You're doing different things. You've been successful. Show, right? Invite professionals that you met yesterday to your profile. I'm not kidding. If you're at this conference and you haven't invited 200 people by tomorrow, you've missed an opportunity. Let me repeat that. You have all these great people out here, and if you don't invite them to your LinkedIn, right, by tomorrow, why does it have to be tomorrow? Well, they'll forget, right? Or we're all busy, we'll go do something else. Invite them. And I don't care if you're a CEO, a vice president, or another student. Bottom line is make sure you invite them the next day. Now, there are days when I worked for a CEO and I invite them and he or she doesn't respond. Don't get over it. Move on. Because they're busy. They may respond, they may not. But the mere fact that you actually stepped up, what happens to your odds of success in getting that job and getting that relation started? It goes way up, way, way up. We said 7 times. 7 times up. Holy mackerel. Look professional, act professional, block anybody who isn't. Look professional, act professional, block anybody who isn't. Anybody who's not professional, get them out. I even say this to vice presidents. There's no negative thoughts. How many people are so busy? Do you have time to deal with more negativity? Does anybody? I don't. Block them. Get them out. And believe me, if I block you, you're blocked from 33 CEOs and 250 vice presidents. So trust me, I always let a lot of people in, but make sure you're always positive, right? Do not send updates in your community. When you have a profile, there's a button at the bottom that says update all your friends on your profile update. Because it was meant to say, I got a new job, you should know about it. I had one student, and I'm not exaggerating, I let her into my network, and she made 40 updates in one evening. I had a senior vice president call me up, and she said, I'm going to get out of your network if you don't stop this person. So regrettably, I had to say, Shanana, you're out. I didn't want to do that. So make sure you turn the button off. It's really simple. But do that, because you don't want to update everybody. Share great content. I'm a busy person. However, I might not have seen the latest Fast Company article, or the Harvard Business Review, or something from your school. You're doing something really cool. Nobody knows about it. Make sure that you put great content up, because you all have a good story. You're here. Tell your story, right? As I said, top-rate profiles. Make them your template. Go look at somebody that you want to be like and use their profile as a template. Don't go use those canned templates. They haven't done anything. Look for somebody who's in your field, who's been successful, who knows how to win, and copy them. Then make it your own. See what kind of articles they put up. See what kind of information they put up. You're going to win the day if you do that. And then join as many communities and follow the companies that you want to be work for. Follow them. It increases your odds. If nothing else, when you follow them, if they post a job, it comes to you. Did you know that? So it comes to you before it even goes off to the big boards. So if you're following them, it says to me about every day, because GE is one of my big clients over the years. GE has posted another 30 jobs today. Oh, really? I wonder if I have any students that could fit that. Maybe, I don't have they're mostly engineers, to be honest, but that's okay. So what is yours? How does that work? Right? So again, if you don't know, go to LinkedIn. They've got a ton of information. And finally, I just want to thank you for taking the time. As I said, this is kind of what I do around here. This is one of the two things. I do innovation and new products, which I'm known for, but I also help people network. Because I learned a long time ago, one of the most important value I had as a senior leader was when you get to be a senior leader, do you do anything by yourself? You don't do anything by yourself. So it's about getting the right people in the right position, doing the right job. What better way to do that? So either whether you're looking for a job or then you become the manager, or you become the director, or you become the vice president, what a better tool to find out who you could put in the right place at the right time. If you do a really good job with your LinkedIn, please contact me. I'll put you in my community. Right? I told you I have about 300 of senior leaders, but I probably have 600 students who now are also junior leaders, because I've been doing this for a few years. So again, I want to thank you, and I hope that you enjoyed my talk on LinkedIn. Any questions? Any questions? No question? Yes?
Is there anything that you don't like about your job?
I love what I do, or I do something else. Now, my problem is how can I put this nicely? I was the microbiologist, I was the nutritional chemist, I was, the food technologist, and I didn't like some of those things. To me, what I found out is I love being an innovator and marketer, number one, but what I love more is teaching people how to do what I know how to do. Because to me, that Gerber graduates or the microwave popcorn will eventually go away. There'll be a new food, a new technology that replaces it. But if I actually pay it forward and teach you, this lecture hall I have every Monday and Wednesday, and it has 340 people in it. Every week, twice a week. So if you can pay it forward, but you must love what you do. I always tell people, if you don't love what you do something else. Don't tell me you're trapped. Do something else. Find something that is your superpower. Don't try to, when you start out, you have to take what you can take, because, I did too. I did jobs I didn't like, 100,000 pounds of meat. That sucks. But bottom line, do what you got to do to get to where you need to go. Does that make sense? But you got to love it. And by the way, when I talk this way, what do you think happens when I'm on a team? The team gets inspired. They do things that they can't do. It wasn't me doing Gerber graduates. It was the team. Let me tell you who was on my team. I had Al Bowles. He was 26 years old, out of Michigan State University, a brand new food technologist. He just retired with $8 million. He was the chief technical officer for ConAg. I had Joaquin Pericas on my team. He was from Spain, right? He helped me do with all the MRD work. He went down. He was customer insights for Coca-Cola in Atlanta. He's now senior vice president at AT&T, right? I had Randy Hinshaw, who's in sales. He goes on. He's just the vice president of a local foundry. I mean, it's about your team. These guys could all hit. We're all buddies, by the way. We didn't go play golf or hang out. But I respected everyone, and I would trust that they all had my back. Does that make sense? I went off. I'm sorry. That's my passion. Anything else? Anyone else? Please, 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 if you haven't, go look at my LinkedIn. Go help build yourself. I help lots of people. They call me the coach for a reason, right? Because my days are done. That days in the star are over. My job is to coach the next set of winners, which would be you, right? You're the next set of winners. And my legacy will be determined, just like a coach is, on who, they don't throw the football or they don't kick it, whatever, if you're into soccer or football or volleyball, whatever you're into, that's not, there's certain days when you have to be the coach, and that's where I am. Any other questions? Yes?
You were working on launching your products. How did you create an environment that fosters that?
You know, it's one of the hardest things to do. I teach culture of innovation. It's actually what I teach. It's why they hire me. Because what happens is, unlike any other piece, you know that only 1 out of 19 are going to go through. So you have to be able to do a lot of things. One of the things I always say, your children are not born 18 years old. So I hide all my new products and new innovations till they grow up. So we used to, you know, I have a thing called the Innovatrium, which is an institute, but what I used to do is go to the Starbucks because I didn't want the senior leaders to see what we're working on because they'd ask me a question that I couldn't answer. So I'd go hide and make it through. Number 2, you got to find a leader, find one person to sponsor you that believes. And what you want is the person that sponsors you has to have more, he or she has to have more to win or lose than you do. And you may have to give he or she credit for your new product because the only person they're going to protect is themselves. Number 2, when you're doing, when you go out and you do this, bottom line is when you first start out, everybody wants the new product because it doesn't cost any money. There's no resources required. Then, Gerber graduates, I got it all the way through the research, and then I needed $12 million. And then I was like, well, you're asking so much, John. You want $12 million? Yeah, we did all our homework. It says it's going to work. Let's go. They said, we don't trust you. We're not giving you $12 million. So what I did is I went to the food marketing FMI down in Chicago, and I found out Chef Boyardee had just launched a new product just in the same container that I had. And I said, where do you build that? They said, well, we can't afford $12 million either. We go to this place called Ameriqual. And I went down to Ameriqual. They even gave me the address. So I went down and said, Ameriqual, could you make my product too? And they said, well, our first shift is booked, but if you don't mind working on second trick, 3 to 11, we'll do it. We did it. Then about 3 years later, they bought 3 $12 million lines. Right? Nice problem to have. Those are just some of the tricks. I always say find Trojan horses. One of the things you do on a new product to create a culture is it's not about you. Find something that the CEO or senior leader wants, and it's already funded, and put your project inside to make theirs better. If it works, you're a hero. If it doesn't work, you haven't spent any more money. I have 100 of those, so whatever. If everybody wants to talk new products, new ventures, that's what I do. Anything else? Again, thank you.